you could use Discipline Agile. So what most people don't maybe have a good grasp of, because they're being introduced to Discipline Agile, in the current time frame, is I'll spend just a moment to give a little bit of context of how Discipline Agile has all of the guidance that's contained within it. So DA's got some content in it that's proprietary. It's stuff that's been written from the thought leaders and the intellectual property team that continues to maintain and evolve Discipline Agile. But Discipline Agile was originally a product that came out of IBM. So back in 2012, the first sort of version, which was Discipline Agile Delivery, and back then it was actually kind of the body of knowledge was referred to as a framework. Well, it started off by really coming from the unified process. So IBM owned the Rational Software Company. It became their fifth brand back in like the early 2000s. So the Rational Unified Process had gotten to the point where it was pretty mature and well used, maybe kind of got a little bit bloated in some areas. There was the Open Unified Process, so there was a lot of the intellectual property, kind of the core content of RUP was donated to the Eclipse Process Foundation, and a lot of contributing Agile thought leaders and Agile practitioners at the time were contributing to what was in EPF, and the Open Unified Process was one of those things. IBM had their Agile at Scale, and so that was brought in. And then something really interesting also was added in, all of the really great stuff that was in Scrum. Extreme programming, right? A lot of technical practices. Things that are from an Agile scale perspective, so a team of teams approach, like SAFe, the Scaled Agile Framework, DSDM, Kanban, Lean principles, Agile modeling, Agile data, the Lean startup, things from a DevOps perspective, things from NetObjective, which is now a part of PMI, and a really great value stream management content, let alone lots of other things. PMBOK, right, stuff that is in the project professional sort of space. So that's all within Discipline Agile. And that's one of the reasons why it is a sizable body of knowledge, right? But it has coverage. It has either something that is identical or very similar to everything that I've got on the screen that kind of forms its DNA. So hopefully, for those of you that maybe haven't heard or have a lot of experience with DA, maybe you're wondering like, hey, can you show me some of the content? Yeah, absolutely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide my toolbox right onto the screen. Let's see if I can actually get it to cooperate. And I'm going to come out of presentation mode for just a moment and kind of put that overlaid as close as I can right on top. So what I'm showing you is I'm showing you the Discipline Agile browser. So this is the primary source to find guidance within on Discipline Agile. So there is, I happen to have one of the books, right? The Choose Your Wild book. And you can see this is something you easily read sort of in a weekend, right? Sort of just over a Saturday afternoon. No, this is a reference book. The first 100 pages is what we would want to read. And the rest is guidance. It's the same stuff that, try and pull this up, get my camera to focus here. It's the same stuff that is now in the browser. As a matter of fact, the latest release of this book is only a little over 100 pages because the other 300 pages are in this tool. So this is the toolbox. So here's what's really unique about it is that we can find, if I were to go to, so that what I'm showing right now, this is called a process goal diagram. Let me start with that. So process goal diagram in the team level, Discipline Agile Delivery, there's 24 of these. Form team is one of them, and explore scope is another one. And as I'm clicking over here on the left, and the navigation, right, you can see that the graphic changed. So explore scope, right? I click on that, and it is a split screen, so I can see why is this important. And I know this is too small for everybody to read, but what I want to do is just give you a little context, a little information about all of the guidance that you can find in DA. So what I can do is I can say, oh, well, let's see, explore usage, and oh, now something's changed, right? So now I've got all of the options starting with design sprint and going down to user story map. So these are practices, techniques, or strategies that are known to work based on teams and organizations in all sorts of different type of product development delivery all across the world. So if I click on something like user story, it's going to highlight it. It's going to give me a brief description of what a story is, and then it's going to give me some trade-offs. Right? So I can go through and look at quite a lot of different potential practices, right? Options that I could choose from so that I could form a way of working or enhance a current way of working that I've got. I could take a look at something like evolve way of working and look at something like select lifecycle. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to zoom in a bit here. And here's a great differentiator with DA. DA doesn't have a single life cycle in it, right? It doesn't have, so which Scrum does, right? And again, no disrespect to Scrum. Scrum has a construction kind of focus, and it is an time box based. I mean, it uses the name sprint, but it's an iteration. You're gonna do a small batch of work, 1 to 4 weeks in duration is what the Scrum guide tells us. With DA, yeah, we've got one of those. We have an agile life cycle, right? And I'm gonna just kind of pull this up, a Scrum-based project lifecycle that explicitly supports the full delivery lifecycle from beginning to end, and then we have some trade-offs. But you can see there's additional guidance and selections. We've got, citizen development, we've got continuous delivery between Agile and Lean. So continuous delivery using a time box, continuous delivery Lean using a flow or a Kanban style approach. Exploratory, Lean, large-scale Scrum next, and so forth, right? You can see there's a lot here. There's a lot here. That's a big part of the problem. So let me kind of get us back into the presentation mode here.